and welcome to episode 42. Today we're going to talk about what Disney actually feels like at 59. Here we go. Hi, and welcome to the adventures of two gray mice. I'm Meg.
And I'm Rob.
And we are two gray mice. Hey y'all, it's just Meg here, and today I'm going to talk about what it feels like to travel at 59, especially to Disney, and how we ended up still being Disney fans, I guess, as we got older and grayer. Often we are asked why we still go to Disney, why we go to Disney as often as we do, and yes, we love it, and just the way it is. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we now go to Disney differently than we did when the kids were little. Of course we do. We're older. I'm 59 years old. He's in his 60s. And I've listened to, of course, many other Disney podcasts, even though, we try to cover more than Disney. And a lot of the podcasts that people get to go more frequently. We live in New York. We get to go every once in a blue moon. But they're also a lot younger. Even if they're about to be empty nesters or their kids are graduating or that kind of time in their lives, they're a lot closer to when the kids were younger. And they haven't quite started or they've just started to travel without them. Rob and I have had a little more experience with that. We've always gone away without the kids. Weekends, once a year, big trips like every 5 years for our anniversary. We always felt it was important in our relationship to make sure that happened. And now we just do that and we like to go to Disney. This kind of brings me around to, as I got older and I was looking for something with a little more meaning in my life and something I wanted to do with my life, even at, 55 years old, I needed a goal and a hole to fill in my life that kind of filled my soul a little bit. And it was shortly after a Disney trip and I loved Disney. And I was like, I can help other people love Disney too and experience Disney the way we do because I've learned so much about it. But just so when I became a travel advisor and I started working with the curated travel collection, and I'm an independent contractor, so I have like my own little company underneath their big umbrella, and that's when I became Megan the Mouse. But as I have worked over the past couple of years as a travel advisor, doing this and becoming older myself and more gray, and then Rob and I started this podcast, I realized that the people I'm helping and I'm talking to are more people like myself. We are traveling without kids, or we had kids, or we never had kids. And of course, I also help families. Why wouldn't I? But it's just Megan the Mouse just was kind of covering one thing. It wasn't covering everything I do in cruise lines and just helping people experience the world. So just recently, I changed my name that I work under to Gray Mice Travel, which also kind of links together with this podcast a little more, since it's two gray mice and gray mice travel. So if you ever look for Megan the Mouse, it will bounce you right to Gray Mice Travel, where I can help you travel where you want to go and where I try to help people make memories without the hassle and the stress of trying to plan a vacation themselves. Because yes, vacations are about where you're going, but even more so, it's about why you're going, who you're going with, even if it's alone, and the memories and experiences you can have while you're there. And we're all so busy these days. Who needs the hassle of trying to figure that all out themselves when you can ask for help? But I started this with Disney. What does it feel like at 59 going to Disney? And I think back to when we first started going, which, was our honeymoon. We just celebrated 35 years, so it was a bit ago. Disney still had FastPass, the paper ones, so you had to get them at the entrance to each ride. And I remember, doing the fast theme park walk up to the ride so we could get the next, the next best one because they've run out. I remember rope dropping Epcot to get our dining reservations because you would get them at kiosks underneath Spaceship Earth. So much has changed. Disney is completely different. And over the years, how we experience it is different. Where with the kids, It was so much more focused on what they wanted to do and what I think they would want to do. Like, we had to see Bear in the Big Blue House when it was there because it was Timmy's favorite show. There was no way I was not gonna see it. So, as time went on, you know, you find yourself still planning your Disney vacations the same, and I think this is as people get older, the mistake that's made. As as you get older, as your children get older, your vacations need to change, even if you're going to the same place that you've gone. Like when I was growing up, we went to Long Beach Island in New Jersey all the time. Rent a house, great week. But when I was a little kid, we might play miniature golf and hit the water park. As I got older, we sat on the beach and read a book or went for a bike ride. So Disney changes as we change. And what's important to each of us has to change as we go. And a lot of this really kind of, came to me because one, my 59th years is coming to an end in a month. We just celebrated our 35th wedding anniversary. So I've been really kind of reflecting back on why I travel, how we travel. People are always asking us, why are you still going to Disney? Why do you sell Disney? It's a wonderful place. Is it expensive? Yes. Is there ways of going to visit there without spending an arm and a leg? Yes. But you need to understand the vibe you want and how you like to travel and understand that it changes, especially if you're a DIYer, that you're doing this yourself. So you have nobody asking you these questions as you go along. How do you want to do this? So, like when we first went, it was all about the kids. We made sure we had snacks. We made sure we had lots of water. We made sure we kind of had time periods during the day for slow rides and mellow rides and places we can go in the shade when Timmy passed out in the stroller. And that's all important. And what I learned when I learned the difference, because I've always been the planner of the two of us, is when we went down 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago. It was the first trip that we did, just the two of us, to Disney. Before then, it was always cities. It was always a new city that we were exploring. So it was different and new. It was easy to plan for just us. But this was Disney. So I planned it the same way I planned all the other Disney trips. Of course, by this point, the internet existed. So I got to pick my 3 rides, for each day before we got down there. And I did that. And I booked my uh, dining reservations 120 days out. And I checked things and I read my books and I knew what I was doing and I had everything planned out. But I was planning it like we were bringing the kids. And we missed a lot that was not kid-centered, not kid-focused. We had a great time. We fell in love with Disney again because it had been several years, especially just us. It just hits differently when it's just, you and someone you love. So when we went back down a little over a year later with the kids who were grown-ass adults and my sister, another grown-ass adult, I didn't plan it the same way. I didn't, we still picked our 3 things. We still got our dining reservations. It was the tail end of COVID, so completely different feel to the whole thing. But I started totally changing how I travel in many ways anywhere, but especially Disney or Universal. How we approach the day and what we want to do. And in some ways with that first holiday trip, because the kids were there, it kind of reverted back to we need to rope drop and we need to run here and we need to run there and we need to make sure we experience this. We need to make sure we experience that and kind of had a checklist and go, go, go. And we ended up on the ride for the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. It was going to be 20 minutes. It wasn't one of our high priorities, but it's fun. And it was only 20 minutes. The holidays, first week of December. We hopped on. I don't know if the ride went down. They didn't announce anything. I'm not really sure what happened, but it turned into an hour and 10 minutes. And at first we didn't notice because the 5 of us were all online together and we're chatting. It was one of our early days. And then after a while, we're like, you didn't want to get off the line because you waited so long already. They weren't saying anything. And when we got off the line or the next morning, my sister looked at me and said, I'm done. I'm done with lines. She's like, I'm not waiting more than half an hour for anything. So Genie Plus had just come out. So we did Genie Plus one day just to figure it out. It was like literally a week and a half old. Figure out how to use it. but also to shorten our lines. But even more importantly, we kind of looked at lines and we looked at things differently than I did at 20 and 30 and 40 because life's different, you know? And everybody says it. When you meet that woman or man, you know, they don't care what they say anymore because they're old enough. One, yes, I'm that age. But two, you kind of have to look at life that way in many ways. Life is short, you know? Three-quarters of my life is history. It's in the rearview mirror. So what am I going to do now? And how am I going to enjoy myself? And how am I going to enjoy the people I love? So when we go to Disney, which we love, we look at things very differently. So now, as a couple, it's more about the vibe, the feeling, what we want to do. And we talk about it. And we've actually had the conversations on the podcast. You can listen to them from last December about how we picked going to Jollywood Nights and not going to Mickey's party. So we'll pick a couple of big things or little things that we really want to do. And right now, because I'm being a travel advisor, a lot of it's about getting content or whatever and doing things we haven't done before. But we do that anyway. So once we have that and we have a base of what we kind of want to do, we fill in the rest with, okay, we're going to do here, we're going to do here. Like the last time we went down at Christmas time, we had no intention of going to Epcot every single solitary day. We ended up going every day because the lines were long and we couldn't see what we wanted to see. So we'd go back later. And we could. We ended up going back to the hotel room and taking a nap every day or close to it because we could. Because there's things that are more important in life. So to enjoy the afternoon as much as I wanted to, I needed to rest. I needed to nap. Or I needed to just get out of the sun. Something like that, where when I was 20, I just kept going. At 40, I pushed through for the kids. At almost 60, I'm going back to the hotel room and I'm taking a nap. Or I'm going to Baseline Tap House and I'm having a drink and a big pretzel and I'm going to people watch for a while. Or the outside area at Brown Derby, Nomad Lounge. I can't right now. I remember the name of the bar in Africa, which is also wonderful for people watching. So we're going to do things like that. We're going to go on People Mover. So you have to look at your day and realize it's going to be just a little more relaxed, a little different. And in many ways, one, we sometimes end up spending more money because we go out to dinner more often. We have sit-down dinners more often. But at the same time, didn't have to if we didn't want to, if we didn't have the money. We could actually save money because I very often don't buy lightning lanes because I don't care to. Yes, we don't go down very frequently. I will probably buy a Rise of the Resistance, but I'm not going to buy the lightning lanes for Hollywood Studios. I'm going to buy them for Magic Kingdom because Rob really needs to go on Peter Pan, but I'm not going to buy them for Animal Kingdom. I'm probably not going to buy them for Epcot either. We did buy them only because when we went down, Test Track had just reopened and we really wanted to go on it. So, it's not commando touring. It's not getting every reservation possible. We have slower mornings. We usually get there right when the park opens or thereabouts. We prefer to stay on site so we don't have to deal with renting a car. We don't mind taking the buses because I don't have a stroller. I don't have anything to fold up. I don't mind that it's going to take me 5 minutes longer to get back to my resort if I'm staying out at, Coronado Springs because it's just us. And that extra 5 minutes of sitting down sometimes feels nice. I look for resorts that have nice pools, nice areas to relax, good restaurants, because that's what's important to us. I'm more likely not to be in a value because they don't have what I want. They're perfect. If we're going down for a short visit and it's going to be park, then a value is perfect. When I went down for my cruise, value was perfect. I was there for one night. But if me and Rob are going down for the week, I'd rather go to Coronado and be able to go to Three Bridges or Dahlia Lounge or be so close to Animal Kingdom Lodge that I could go over there for food. If I was going to do a value because of finances that week, month, year, I might stay in the Skyliner resorts of, Art of Animation and Pop Century because quick Skyliner journey over to the Epcot area, and you're on the boardwalk, and you've got flying fish, and you have all that. Of course, half the time that Skyliner terrifies me, so I'm not sure that that always works well for me, especially if it, like, stops for any length of time. If it keeps moving, I'm good because it's pretty quick, but if it stops, like, we're there for the holidays, it stopped for 5 minutes, I was on the verge of a panic attack. We always take a break. In many ways, it almost ends up being 2 days, especially if there's a party involved, because we won't do anything the morning of the party, and we'll take a full day, off later on in the week. We build those in because that's the way we wanna do it. So even like we're going to Seattle, we're looking at what we're gonna do. There's so much to do. We're gonna break it up into little parts because I'm not running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I'd rather relax and enjoy ourselves and truly experience whatever it is in front of us, whether it's Disney or Universal, and bring it all in. When we went to Epic Universe, we went for 4 days. We spent 4 days in one park. It was a new park. We wanted to explore it. We took a break every afternoon because it was June and hot as all get out. We ate good food. We just sat at some points in, like, especially Celestial Park, and took it all in and just watched people and watched the interactions of the park. Now, people were dealing with things too, because as a travel advisor, I had to know that, but more to just for our own joy, figure out, well, what's the best way to do this and what's the best way to do that, and look at it all. I mean, I think we purposely went to each bench in the Isle of Burke because they're all hand carved and they're gorgeous, and I wanted to see each one. Where if I was with the kids, that wouldn't have happened. It's not gonna happen. There's also things like, as you get older, your body changes. I'm still carrying my baby weight. The fact that Tim's 27 means nothing. I still call it baby weight. People ask me how old the baby is. Whatever. Florida heat is exhausting. It's exhausting for anyone. Now, I can't deal with it very well at all. I get overheated. I get dizzy. I get a headache. I can have 2 gallons of water on me. I'll be drinking the whole time. So it's hard for me to go in the heat of the summer all day long. We were at Universal for 3 days before Epic opened, the year before Epic opened, or 2 years before Epic opened, in June for my birthday, and then we did 1 day at Epcot. Sorry, I'm losing my voice again. And it was hot as all get out. It was like 95-degree days. And it was hard for me to do it. And we would go to the park first thing in the morning. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we were out. That was it. I couldn't do anymore. And I would go into the pool, or we'd take a nap and then hit the pool. We wouldn't go back to the park until like 4:35, when we knew it would just be a couple more hours of heat before the sun went down at least. And, you can't, it's hard. It's easier when they're little, but, trying to convince a 10-year-old that they have to spend 4 hours at the hotel if they want to be in the park is more difficult. Then you're finagling everybody. But me, Rob, we were good. We went to Disneyland in January. Rob was cold. It was 50-something degrees most days. He was freezing the entire time. When he was younger, he didn't get cold that easily. Now he does. So things change. I mean, luckily, we both can still do the 20 to 30,000 steps a day, but we walk. I mean, Rob's a carpenter. He's upright and walking all day long, every day. I'm behind a desk, but I got myself a standing desk and I walk. We know that part we have to keep up on, and we have to pay attention to the other 51 weeks of the year so that we can go down and enjoy it. But we know it's different. And at some point, it's going to be harder for me. I know when the kids were little, I would just, as long as I had water and, food, I could just keep going. I would just keep going through everything. Now, I need to be closer to the hotels because I want to be able to go back and get into air conditioning for quite some time. It's when the deluxe resorts all of a sudden become worth it. It's when the moderate resorts become worth it. Convenience means a little more to me now. When I was younger with the kids, also when you have kids, you're so budget conscious because you want to give them some things that you skimp on things you give yourself, basically. So you become a little jaded towards some things. And I can understand why people, when their kids get older, stop going, because you've been paying for convenience because you wanted to skip the lines and rent the strollers and all that fun stuff, and you're done dishing out all this money to Disney, or you're like me and you've fallen in love with it. So now you're going back and you're paying for a little extra convenience in your hotel room, your resort stay, because the transportation matters, the proximity matters, because the dining matters. Because I'm older, I have a little more refined taste, and I can because my children, even if I go with them, because me and Kate had a fabulous mother-daughter trip. We stayed at Coronado Springs because the two of us are adults, and together we can enjoy that proximity, the better dining, all that fun stuff. And then how we do Disney, and I kind of hinted at this also, and Epic and Universal. It's more about wandering the World Showcase and seeing the details and really looking well at what these Imagineers and these artists at Universal do, and the details like the benches and, you know, the museum at Norway, really taking our time, enjoying the nighttime ambience, not just nighttime fireworks, enjoying, you know, getting one of the last reservations at a dining resort, sorry, at a dining restaurant in the parks, so that when we walk out, the park's basically empty, and enjoying that. Being able to just take a slow stroll out of the park because you don't have to get back before the kids fall asleep or whatever the case may be, and you can just people watch and enjoy the vibe and the relaxing of these beautiful places at night. They really are just gorgeous. Our nighttime strolls through the resorts themselves. We would take a walk at night when we were at uh, Port Orleans because it was beautiful. It was beautiful evenings. We could enjoy just being there and being together with something that we love together. Because Disney's one of the few places that when we go there, both of us love it and love everything about it in many ways. Yeah, he has things he loves more than I love, vice versa, but there's no compromise for the most part. When we go to Seattle, we're going to end up compromising on something. He's going to say, okay, so if you come to this museum or restaurant or more likely train thing, then I'll go to this thing for you. And it's great. It's why we've been married for 35 years. But at Disney, we don't have to. We can be a little more just there, enjoy the festivals, enjoy the drink and beverages, the conversations. We meet people. We will talk to anybody. If there's a couple that, sits down next to us, we talk to them. We've made friends. We had a wonderful dinner at Bragland Road once with this fabulous Welsh couple that had just arrived. We just arrived. They were getting ready to leave. It was great. To all those Disney adult haters out there, get over yourselves. It's a wonderful place. It's not cheap. We understand that, especially these days. With gas over $4 a gallon, life's a little crazy pants right now, and it's hard. But talking to all the adults out there, even if you bring your kids, you need the time. Whether it's Disney or anywhere else, take the vacation. You need the time. You need to rediscover yourselves. Rob and I rediscovered ourselves as little kids, very deep inside of us, and as a married couple at Disney. And that's probably also why we love it so much. There are times that we walk around and go, oh, remember when Tim fell asleep at blah, blah, blah. Remember how Timmy in Germany would just stand there and watch the trains for half an hour. He loved them. But now we're also putting in all those memories of us and, our honeymoon when we went to Chefs de France. And we go to Chefs de France whenever we can because it reminds us of that. It's a different experience, and your life changes as we move on, as we all know. And how we become who we are changes over time and what we want. You know, if you had looked at me when I was 45, 48, 49, even 50, and said, Meg, you're going to want to be a travel advisor and you're going to want to help people create memories that will live with them for a lifetime. I would have been like, what? What are you talking about? No, I'm not. That's crazy pants. But I found it and that's what I want to do. And we all have that place or, you'll hear people say, well, I went to Ireland and I found myself and I want to go back there whenever I can. And it just spoke to me. Disney speaks to me. Disney speaks to Rob. Universal speaks to us. It's that little bit of a kid. It's the artwork, the creativity, because we're both came from a theater background, but the creativity that you see in these Disney locations, that you see in Disney Cruise Line, are amazing, that you see at Epic Universe, that you see in Universal Studios. I very much would love to go to Texas and see Universal's new kids park. In fact, that one of my closest, dearest friends is helping build it, of course, just makes me want to go more. But you can it works. And this episode, I guess, in some ways kind of ended up just being me gabbing at you and not much about anything except maybe getting to know me a little bit better. I hope that worked. I don't know. But Disney's magical. And we've always felt it and we still feel it. It's just as we've gotten older, the magic has changed. And how the magic has changed. It's just a completely different way. And it's still us, 35 years is a long time, but it could be 10 years and you could be a solo. In some ways, I think I do enjoy it now. I appreciate it more now. I see the art of it now. I see how hard the cast members work more now, where before I was too crazed. People need to stop apologizing for being Disney adults, and haters need to stop hating on us because that's just who we are. That's just the way it is. Maybe that's why getting older sometimes is really just not giving up on the things you love or doubling down on the things you love. And remember, as you get older, you need to change how you travel because it's just what you value now is not the same what you valued 5 years ago. Because 5 years ago, you had an infant, now you have a 5-year-old. Or 10 years from now, you have a 15-year-old, or whatever the case may be. So if you have a story, if you want to tell me about how you travel, if you have a topic you would like us to talk about on the podcast, please reach out to us. You can reach me at meg@graymicetravel.com. That's also my website. And please, wherever you're listening to this, please leave us a rating and review so that more people can hear us. I would love for this podcast to actually get out there and to maybe grow a little bit. But who knows? I like doing it. I like having this conversation with you all, and I hope you all enjoy listening to it. Thank you very much. Have a great week, folks, and talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.